Well, yeah,
Um,
he's
I
I,
know
I
in
heard something like he was being sort of like improvising a lot, and De Niro was driven insane by that.
is it what was the one Tommy Lee Jones chiding Jim Carrey on Batman?
Yeah,
Uh,
I will not sanction your buffoonery.
yeah, that was great. But
It's
no,
amazing.
when students ask me like who's your favorite actor, I'll usually say DiCaprio just because of the Scorsese movies, and because if I say someone like Patrick Stewart, they don't know who I'm talking about. So I have to choose
Yeah.
someone. I don't know Japanese actors well enough, so I'm not going to go with that. And I'm like I have to say someone they recognize. So
Uh, that's the
it's like
I
a
think
loaded question.
my favorite actor is probably Joaquin Phoenix, which is
That,
part of why I keep defending the Joker movie to you guys.
see, well, I showed you. I bought it, right? I have it. It's on
Yeah.
Blu-ray.
Have you watched it yet?
No, we're gonna do it eventually.
Yeah,
I
that's
thought I'd
right. You
wait.
should watch it when we do it. It's not going to
Yeah,
be very long
yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
now.
We
Maybe.
think. I don't remember where it is on the list. Yeah, I don't think it's too far down on
It's
the
coming
list.
up pretty soon when we start the list again.
Right,
Um,
right.
it's
Which
I think you'll at least kind of enjoy it. It's as long as you can get past the fact that it's not any more derivative than like a Tarantino movie.
okay,
It's
that's
just
cool.
borrowing from different stuff.
It wasn't like I was watching like I don't like this. I'm just like, well, there's De Niro. It's got
Oh,
this vibe. I want to watch. It's been like 5 years since I watched
yeah.
Taxi Driver, so I just got derailed. Also, I at that
Oh,
point I was watching Joker online, and I had Taxi Driver on a Blu-ray. So now I have both on a
oh.
Blu-ray.
Well,
So
also just Taxi Driver. I mean, even Scorsese hasn't managed to do another Taxi Driver, really.
right.
You know, it's
Um,
like I wouldn't say that. I mean, King of Comedy is better than Joker, but not by a tremendous amount.
mm,
I'll say
okay.
that much. I don't know how you feel about that one.
I've actually never seen King of Comedy.
Really?
I have an early '80s hole in my Scorsese.
Fuck.
It blow your mind a little harder. I've never actually seen Raging Bull. I've seen
Well,
all the
I've only seen
'70s
it once.
Scorseses. I've seen everything
Yeah.
like from the late '80s on, with a
Yeah.
few Coles. I mean, he makes a lot of movies, but yeah,
You've
there's a
seen After
couple.
Hours, right?
Oh God, yeah, I've seen that like 10
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. Um,
I think After Hours is usually what I would say is my favorite Scorsese.
that used to be what my favorite. I think my favorite is Taxi Driver now, but it's just a I actually saw After Hours before I saw Taxi Driver. So
I might be shifting over to Casino to be
uh
honest.
and
I really
Casino's
like.
great. There's no real wrong answer. I mean, I guess I guess I would it would be a little weird if your favorite was like Gangs of New York or something because Cameron Diaz and to some extent DiCaprio isn't great in that. I think it's
Is
sort
that
of the
that's the
accent.
first one he did with him, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So maybe
But
it just took a
also,
few movies to gel.
I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis is like chewing the scenery and just destroying everybody basically.
And
Like
he
it's
kind
it.
of does that shtick better in There Will Be Blood several years later.
I
I guess
agree.
he's not as
And part of
crazy, but well, he's
well,
as
part of
crazy. He's not
that
as manic, I guess I should say.
There Will Be Blood has a thing where it doesn't have him act opposite one person a whole lot, except for like Paul Dano. And when he acts opposite Paul Dano, he's just destroying Paul Dano, which is great
Yeah. Which is
because you feel
also
like you
credit to
want
Paul
him to.
Dano on that, you know?
Yeah,
Paul Dano's
absolutely.
breaking he does a fantastic little breakdown.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
No,
is
he's part of why that movie's great.
I was trying to see if There Will Be Blood is on our list. It's probably one of those like just off it
I
things, you
think
know?
it is on there. I could be wrong.
I have it here. I
Yeah,
was
somewhere.
I was picking up my phone like I was gonna check it digitally. I'm like, I can't do that.
Mm.
When is
Watch
it's
it be
actually
no P.T. Anderson at all.
it's a little while before we get to the Joker, actually, looking at the list. High
Hmm.
on the Black Christmas. Quite a while.
Well, the only
It's
movie with the word blood in it is Blood Rain.
oh right. Oh, are you doing like a word
You've seen The
search?
Master, right?
No, I'm kind of down on my
Okay.
PT
See,
Anderson. I know I need to watch the Master. That's and
I
what
know
the thread thing was Phantom Thread or something.
Phantom Thread is very good. But The Master, again, I'm biased.
Well, I like all
Because
that weird
Joaquin Phoenix is
conspiracy
in it.
shit. And I like all that weird conspiracy shit, so you would think I would watch it,
Um,
but
it's so good. It's fantastic. It's fantastic at being about Scientology, but like not legally close enough.
I think that was on my mind for as an ironic pick for the Sci-Fi Sanctuary that we never got around to. It was also
Hmm.
that like gray area where like all the weirdos were starting to become problematic. So because
Uh-huh.
you don't get a weirdo on for that. Like 3 years ago, you would have gotten like some like you know nut job or something, that would have been fun. But it's the nut jobs aren't as fun anymore, so you can't do that.
Yeah. I don't think I ever was super into nut jobs, but I think I hung out around more people who had psychotic breaks than you did.
That hell. Oh, I'm in Japan. I'm looking from the outside, so it's perfectly fine to hear.
I mean,
Uh,
when we were younger, I think I hung out with more people who had psychotic breaks than you did.
that too, but yeah, because I walk around with expensive guitars on my back at night at midnight in Japan, so I don't care.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I assume if someone has a psychotic break in Japan, it's like they just do something
Oh
different.
yeah. Oh. There are. I mean, we have like these bizarro crimes in Japan. In fact, let me just look at Japan today, and I bet there's like a few where people just snap and do something fucking weird. Japan today. Let's see what the crime blotter is for them. Missile drill. Okay, that see
Hmm.
that's the headline. 60 people did a missile drill at a train station. That's the top news.
So that was like government sanctioned missile drill, is what you're
um,
saying? It's like a
yeah, yeah,
government
yeah, yeah. That's right.
exercise. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sports. Well, give me crime. Give me crime. Da, 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 da. Oh, there we go. Okay. Let's see. 5 arrests for Shinkansen ticket fraud. Whatever. Um. Okay. 8,400 persimmons stolen from 2 orchards in Niigata. That's the third on. That's the third down on the crime blotter.
No,
Uh,
not the persimmons. Did they have permissions to take those persimmons?
no, they stole them.
I was just trying
Man,
to make a I was trying to make a limerick.
man slashed, robbed on Nagoya Street. I mean, that's bad, but that wouldn't make the American news. Also, the man would have
Uh
been shot. Man
yeah.
arrested for stealing at least 50 air conditioner units in Gunma.
Wow.
Woman arrested after
50.
man stabbed on Tokyo street. So there are these random acts of like, you know, knife violence. Man arrested after sneaking into women's apartment and washing her lingerie. Uh,
That's pretty weird.
there's a lot of old people killing each other. Like here we go, 86-year-old man arrested over death of wife, or you'll have like the caretaker kids in their 50s like murdering their parents because they're so much of an onus, and there's not enough of
Yeah.
a old folk system in Japan. If um,
I
but
mean, I'm sure a lot of people think about it.
that's the top of the crime blotter here. So I mean, that's
Yeah.
like, I mean, the stabbings aren't good, of course, but what was it? The arsonist that burned down the anime studio in Kyoto, and it killed like 26 people. That was pretty hardcore.
Mm. Yeah, I do remember that. I mean, stabbings would make the news here if they happen if there wasn't so much shooting.
Yeah.
It's just
well,
sort of
that's
like,
that's kind of making my point though, isn't it? And then like someone
yeah.
steals 50 air conditioning units or 8,000 persimmons. That doesn't make the crime news in
Well,
America.
there have been a number of times. I mean, there have just been. I mean, I don't know for the amount that I follow the news, which is not much. There have been a few like total clickbait headlines where this interestingly it's happened a couple of different times where someone it's like they leave town and they come back and they find out that someone demolished their house because they demolished the wrong house.
Oops, it's
And
like
it's
the
like
Hitchhiker's Guide.
the headline says, person finds their home demolished, but then someone digs into it, finds out that this person owns like 15 homes and it was just like a derelict, fucked up, rundown shack that they were just hanging on to try and, resell later. So
Mm.
that everybody's like, oh, well, that was a fucking bullshit headline.
Yeah, but the ones I just read you is the
Yeah.
number 1 or 2 English language news source in Japan. So that's like the major news in Japan for English readers, at least.
Do you get anything that's just like
Even TV
dog
news
stuck
is
in
that kind of
tree?
crap.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the dogs get stuck in the tree sometimes. Oh no,
Cool.
last weekend it was bear stuck in tree, which is a little more exciting.
Whoa. Awesome. How
Well,
big was
last
it?
year there was a nut yield. There was a yield of nuts. So there are a lot of new bears. And this year there's not so much of a nut yield, so the bears have been coming into more populated areas looking for
you're
food.
you're not talking about bear semen, are you?
No, but the
Okay.
nuts
Just
did
making
cause more
sure.
bear semen. Yeah,
Yeah.
because
I mean
the
protein.
nuts were plentiful, so they exercised
Yeah.
their bear
So
nuts.
they produced nuts in kind in
Right.
response to the nuts.
But then
I
this year,
don't
too many
know.
bears, not enough food, so they've been coming down to the hinterlands or whatever.
Um yeah, one time someone said there was a bear on the street near where or the trail near where I lived, and I don't know if I believed them, and I never saw the bear, but it's
I had to follow
technically
a bear around
possible.
once.
Ugh, follow that bear. Wait, no, it's
Yeah.
follow that bird.
That's when I was working at that summer camp thing, and the kids were in the dorms, and there was like a bear, and we had to track it and make sure it wasn't like about to like go screw with the kids or something.
You have to go and like grab its ear and put a tag on its ear.
No, we were just following it from like 100 meters behind.
Shoot it with a tranquilizer dart and then tag its ear.
We didn't have that. We were all in our
Yeah,
early
of course you
20s and
didn't. Of
actually didn't
course
know
you
what the
didn't.
fuck we were doing. So I don't
Nobody,
know.
yeah, nobody does that.
Now that I think about it, they probably did have a tranquilizer gun there for that purpose somewhere at that place, but because it's in the
Yeah,
Poconos.
but they probably didn't have a fucking they probably didn't have a fucking tag
Tran-
for the bear.
They might have, but not not at our disposal because we were
Yeah.
dumb kids. Well, slightly older than kids, but still dumb. The kids were the campers. We were yeah. Where did I end up? I have to sleep in the dorms. I think I did have to sleep in the dorms on that job, so that sucks. I learned never do that again.
Sleeping in the dorm. Yeah, I don't know. I never
Yeah,
done it.
it was like my first summer out of college, so it kind of makes sense.
I'm such a light sleeper. I mean, I should have done something like that, but I'm such a light sleeper that it's like I can't. I barely slept at all in the hospital.
And the
Like,
second the year after that, I I showed up at a job like 2 days late because the other one ended a little late, and so everyone had claimed rooms in this staff house, and I ended up getting like a large closet, which was kind of exciting. So I lived in a large closet for 2 months, but yeah,
and did you
two and a
see that
half
one
months.
time when Alex lived over in like Cabbage Town? He lived under stairs. It was like in just under the stairs.
I don't think I saw that, but I remember living in a basement, but that's different.
I kind of want to live in a basement. I think it'd be nice and the air would be really still down there.
You'd be so base.
Yeah, based.
Okay. Let's do this thing
Okay.
again.
All
Give it
right.
5 seconds and start your run.
Okay. Welcome to Podcast 1999, a podcast about Space 1999. I'm your host, Mark. This is Matt
This is
with
Matt.
me.
I'm supposed to
That
say
is
that, aren't? Oh, you said you added the with me too late. That's the problem. Yeah.
with me
This is what happens when you don't write
is
scripts. But
Matt.
why would you write a script for it? That seems like too much work.
Well, I don't know. Ask. I'm sure we know someone who writes a script for their podcasts.
We do. Some of them show up on this podcast,
Yes, that was the joke.
but we don't have a
Anyway,
script. No script.
anyway,
Unscripted. Just a
today's
format.
scriptless podcast is about Alpha Child. This is episode 9, I believe.
That sounds reasonable. I mean, I could look, I guess, but I didn't have a script. I have my notes, but that's not in my notes. Is that in your trivia?
Well, it's not in my trivia. It's also we're doing it in production order, which means that the episode numbers on whatever IMDb are all wrong, and to us, they
But
were
this one kind of makes sense with production order. Just getting to the
yeah.
plot a little early. Like they changed the names and actors, so it's not the people we saw in Force of Life, but it makes sense if it is. So you can kind of just,
Oh,
squint your eyes a little bit and assume that Force of Life was last week and this is the follow up kind of.
I mean, they were wrong. They aired it wrong. They made a mistake.
I mean,
We're here to fix
most
their
TV
mistake.
did that. That's where this show just has like a couple like are they serialized elements? And it's a little hard to tell if they are or not.
I just imagine Lou Gray just sitting at a console, being like, making the pyramid with his fingers. And like,
Another scotch,
yes,
please.
we'll ruin it. We'll ruin the series.
Oh, come on, we
I
like
don't know if
Luke
that's how he
Gray.
talked. Yeah, I know. He produced some really good stuff.
I don't know. Maybe he could have had people killed. I don't know. But as far as I can see, seems
I
likable
mean,
enough.
pretty much after this, he produces the Muppets.
I know. You
We
can't
could make the
fault
we
someone
could
on that.
actually legitimately make the case to just do a Muppet Show podcast after this.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
we'd have the trilogy of Lou Gray
I don't
productions.
necessarily disagree. So
Yeah, we'll talk to me in 2025.
four,
Four.
four. Yeah, this isn't that long a show.
All right. Well, speaking of how long a show this is, here's some trivia. Today's episode was directed by Ray Austin. He's back from Ring Around the Moon and Missing Link. He'll be back for 4 more in season 1 and 2 in season 2. Alpha Child was originally written by Edward De Lorenzo, who wrote Ring Around the Moon and Missing Link. Hey, how about that? But it was completely rewritten by Christopher Penfold, who shares the writing credit with the Andersons and not De Lorenzo.
Did he
I
get
think
shafted out of 2 episodes now? They must
I
have really
think
not liked that
so.
guy.
I think he shows up credited on in some sources, but not on screen. It was originally based on an idea by Jerry Anderson, but there's some speculation that it was influenced by Richard Donner's film The Omen, which was filming at Pinewood around the same time. Hmm. Barry Morse was taking some time off during the filming of this episode, which is why Dr. Bergman is only in a couple of scenes that all take place in his quarters. Early script drafts had Anton Zoref and Ava Zoref from Force of Life as the boys' parents, but serialization is clearly not the show's thing. So we have a mother we just met and a father who died off screen 7 months ago. Speaking of mothers we just met, Sid Heyman, that's spelled CYD, plays Sue Crawford and later Rena. She's a British actor born in 1944. She originally worked as a journalist, but while taking small acting jobs to pay the bills, she happened to find success on the series Manhunt. She stayed very active until the late 1980s. You can see her in The Persuaders with an exclamation point, The Rough with the Smooth, and Rogue Male. Interestingly, not long after filming this episode, she starred in the 1980 film The Godsend, which is also about an evil child and probably was only greenlit because of the success of The Omen. Although in that film, Heyman's character adopts the evil child rather than giving birth to it. IMDb ominously says, as of 2020, her whereabouts are unknown.
Ooh, say the not the very last movie, but the second and third last ones as one movie title.
The Rough and the Smooth and Rogue Male.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was the rough and the smooth, the rogue male.
No,
Yeah.
sorry, it's the Rough with the Smooth. I said it wrong.
Oh, okay.
And Rogue Male.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds like a really saucy picture.
They could have been pretty saucy separately. I don't know.
That's a spicy meatballs.
I don't do that much research. Jackie Crawford is played by Wayne Brooks. He was a child actor working in the late 70s, early 80s, who seems to have retired after that. Uh, his whereabouts are also unknown, but you can also
Mm,
see him in The Wild Little Bunch and Tales of the Unexpected.
wild little
Jarek,
bunch.
yeah,
Is
Wild
that
Little
like is
Bunch.
I see like the little rascals like having a bloody shootout.
Yeah, I hope it's like that. Jarek is played by Julian Glover, born in 1935 in London, the child of a BBC journalist and a BBC radio producer. He primarily worked as a stage actor, but easily crossed over into television and later film, mostly playing villains. You can see him in works such as The Last Grenade and Take Three Girls. Also, he plays General Veers in The Empire Strikes Back. He appears as the guy who chooses poorly in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. He appears in 31 episodes of Game of Thrones as Grand Maester Pycelle, and he even showed up as Andrus Davis in one of my favorite movies of 2022, Tar. You seen that yet?
No, but I noticed it on the list because I was looking him up a little bit just out of curiosity.
Yeah, you should watch it.
Mm,
Being a music guy,
right.
hopefully he gets to keep doing his thing into his 90s.
So that's why you were confused when I said Ray Donovan because you just said the guy who chooses poorly.
Oh,
Okay.
here's a shameful fact. I've never actually seen that movie.
Oh, we should watch that.
Yeah, that's the one Indiana Jones movie I've never seen except for the new one, which I haven't seen
You should watch a new one
yet.
too, and then you should chide yourself that you've seen Crystal Skull
it
and not those two.
was
What's wrong with
it
you?
was sort of it was sort of a date, not
Mm,
really,
right.
but
Okay.
but it was out and I saw it.
You want to see an
It
80-year-old
came
man
out.
punching Nazis, right?
I was how old was I then? 20 something.
Oh, I'm talking about the new one.
Yeah, but now I don't feel the same way I did in 2008. Now I just don't care about anything. In 2008 I was like, wow, new Indiana Jones.
But now you care about seeing an 80-year-old man punching Nazis, is what I'm saying. That
I
must be
kind of
true.
don't though, but I mean I care
Say
about
it out
the
loud. Say
things.
it out loud and then see
I
how you
care
feel
about
about
an
it.
80-year-old man punching Nazis. It's true. But I also want to watch a movie about a composer who's kind of a jerk
Right.
more than that.
Okay.
Much
Maestro
more.
or
Tar.
Tar? Is that what is Bernstein a jerk and Maestro? I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen
Is it out?
Maestro. I haven't seen Maestro. I don't know.
Okay, I don't.
Is
Who
it
knows
that
what
a
movies are out
biopic?
anymore? Yeah. Oh, that's why I haven't seen it. It's a
I don't
biopic,
like biopics.
and they gave Bradley Cooper a possibly offensive nose.
Uh, and Oppenheimer was okay because it was all out of order.
Okay, still haven't seen
Um,
it.
yeah.
Didn't
Well,
open in
you'll get
Japan.
it. You'll you'll be able to import it sooner or later.
Right.
Anyway, the trivia is over.
Oh, okay. The story begins.
The story. Everyone on Moonbase Alpha is eagerly awaiting the birth of the first child born since the breakaway, while a green blinking light appears in space nearby. Sue Crawford has given birth to a healthy baby boy, Jackie. Unfortunately, the father, Jack Crawford, died off screen 7 months ago and isn't around to see it. Also, unfortunately, the baby immediately becomes a 5-year-old, sending Sue into catatonic shock. While Sue is unable to care for Jackie, the rest of the crew bond with him, even though he's deaf and mute and mostly non communicative. At the same time, Koenig is suspicious of him, and Sue is completely freaked out. Meanwhile, an alien ship arrives at the same time as Jackie produces a perfect drawing of it. 3 more identical ships soon arrive. Eagles attempt to shoot them down but are unable to. Koenig suspects that this is because Jackie is telepathically making Alan into an incompetent pilot. Suddenly, Jackie has become a full grown, scantily clad man named Jarek. Unlike Jackie, Jarek is very talkative, and his first order of business is mentally forcing Helena to tell Koenig to abandon his plan to destroy the spaceships. His second order of business is killing Sue with his mind and then having her possessed with his lover, Rena, who he then makes out with in front of everyone. Jarek informs everyone that he and Rena are formless creatures who have to possess other bodies either when they are born or when they die, and they're on the run from other aliens from their home planet who want to impose genetic conformity on them. And he informs them that they are going to kill everyone on Alpha and take their bodies. After a few struggles, Jarek and Rena's pursuers catch up with them in Alpha's orbit and start destroying their ships. Realizing they now have the upper hand, Koenig and crew break into medical where they find Sue Crawford and baby Jackie back in their original forms with their original brains. Nobody had to die after all, except that one guy that Koenig accidentally shot when Alan jumped on him to prevent Jarek from mind controlling him into shooting himself in the head.
I thought he just lost an arm.
Now he died.
Okay, it wasn't completely clear. Yeah, I guess later there was like you killed that guy.
The wiki I read said unknown man died. Strangely, he was not possessed by an alien.
Yeah, yeah, that would have been they would have had more boots on the ground that way. I guess he was on
Yeah,
fire too, so maybe that was a problem.
he was just like, ah!
And he was kind of on fire, right? So
Yeah,
maybe
I think the fire was killing him. Probably. There was a brief moment where you see everyone's reactions and they're all kind of like, whoa. And then it just cuts back to Jarek doing his constant talking.
yeah, they definitely changed gears from that omen tick you were mentioning, right? Uh,
Yeah,
like it's like just suddenly, nope, turn of the screw. Now you get Jarek, who I do think him is it Julian Glover is the actor's name? So
his name is
doo doo. That's his
Julian
name.
Glover.
Okay, got it. Anyway,
That's like loading music.
yeah, I thought he did have that like stage, presence thing coming through because Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing were both kind of like, I mean, they were fine, but they kind of like were really subdued and low key. And this guy was just like in your face.
I think he's younger than them. I could be wrong.
A little bit younger, maybe, but I mean, they're
Yeah,
all, like, I guess Cushing and Lee, they are basically film actors. I mean, they must have done some stage work. They seem like stage guys.
yeah, I think they didn't take this very seriously, whereas Julian
He
took it
took it
very
very seriously.
seriously.
This
He was
this is
in.
probably, I think this is maybe the most memorable villain we've gotten so far on this show.
I believe so, and he's really not any less evil than any of the other ones.
No, he's just so
Possibly more
arrogant.
evil.
Yeah, he's just super
Pretty
arrogant.
evil.
Yeah, because some of it's just like circumstances that are messed up, you know? Like a few weeks
Well,
Missing Link was kind of like a an anthropologist like going a bit too far, I guess, which isn't quite evil. You know, it's like how
yeah.
there's if people now are anthropologists and go to indigenous areas, they may be doing things that maybe aren't legit, but they don't quite realize it themselves.
We're seeing a little bit of a pattern here,
Mm.
which I I appreciated that Earthbound kind of broke this pattern before we even had the pattern, but a lot of it is alien influence shows up, tries to abduct or kill someone or everyone, and constantly is explaining why it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, yeah,
In
the
this
Earthbound
case,
aliens were more chill.
yeah, they were actually just going about their business and they were here to help. I feel like if that had happened much later, well, I guess it did happen later in the run if you're watching the original airing order, but they might have been less trustworthy or less trusting.
Well, I guess I was just yeah. Jarek is so fun to hate in this episode because he's so
Yeah,
obnoxious.
yeah. At the end, he's like, let us stay," and Koenig's just, "You killed 6 of my guys."
And then so it's like, oh, stunned. But still, I mean, you don't want this guy around.
Absolutely not. I would. I think even in most cases, most Star Trek captains wouldn't even like sanction his buffoonery.
Right. Well, there was that episode where Q loses his powers and they let him hang around and give him a uniform and stuff.
But nobody really wanted him. Everyone was complaining about it.
They didn't really have anything else to do with him because he's kind of just they're in deep space and he just pops up on their ship naked, so they have to give him a uniform or something.
Q is
They
a weird one. I don't feel like I
they
feel
should
like
have given him a
Q
season one Wesley suit. That's what they should have given him.
is one of those things where both Q and Loxana, it's like they don't nobody knows how to write them, even though I like those actors and I like the characters, but it doesn't make any sense that an empath would constantly be trying to bang people who don't want to.
Hmm.
And also, it doesn't make any sense that an omnipotent person would show up. And whenever Q shows up on a Star Trek episode, it's like everyone knows that he's kind of a jerk and everyone treats him like a jerk, even though he could kill anyone. It doesn't make any sense. You would at least be kind of diplomatic, probably,
Well, I
because if
like
he's
the Deep
bored, he'll
Space
just
Nine
kill all of
thing
you.
where he shows up on
Yeah.
Deep Space Nine. Cisco punches him in the face and he never comes back.
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, but he also kind of liked it.
Right. And then
I don't know.
lower decks where they're just like, we don't have time for your crap queue.
Yeah, that's basically. I mean, whatever the last Voyager episode I watched was
Anyway,
just
that's my
kind of a.
point. You have to have time for Jarek's crap. He's going to make you deal with his crap. And then he's going
It's
to do something that might be incest, and we're not sure.
it's definitely well, he doesn't care. I mean, if you're formless, what do you care about incest? I guess. I mean, what there was he's running from genetic conformity. Does he? Do you think he's just running from aliens that don't want him to commit incest?
Maybe, or they're just like, these people suck. Let's let's get rid of them. I mean, we
it's
only meet the two, but
it's this thing where it's refreshing to see Koenig calling him on his like nonsense, but at the same time, we're getting more of the same thing where Koenig like has omnipotent knowledge of everything and understands immediately that Jackie is the creepy, scary kid,
to be
even though
fair,
everyone
he was
else is.
pretty creepy, and he does act
He
try to
was.
he acts cutesy toward him. Well, at least until the kid, starts to pick up or whatever, because he's deaf and mute.
Yeah, I guess but also you have to wonder why I guess Jarek in the form of the child isn't smart enough to really conceal what he's doing.
That might be part of the case. Also, he's just like extremely powerful, so maybe he doesn't care.
He doesn't really when he shows up in Jarek form, he doesn't talk as if he remembers anything that happened when he was a kid. It's
They gave
almost like he was
yeah,
cocooned or something.
they gave him a little Moonbase Alpha uniform that was cute.
Yeah,
Another one's like, why did they give him a uniform? Maybe that's all they have on there, at least till they change
probably.
uniforms in season two.
Well, they definitely did not give him the outfit he was wearing as an adult, which was
He gave that to
scandalous.
himself. That was
He gave it to
fantastic. Yeah,
himself. Yes, this
that
is
that is
great.
that is a solid Halloween costume.
Yeah, not a lot of people could pull that off. I don't know if I ever would have been able to pull that off my entire life.
And almost no one would know like who you were too. So who are
Well,
you?
it's
I'm
like
Jarek. Jareth from Labyrinth? No, I'm Jarek.
I for sure want to do a Lord Summerisle costume at some point. Nobody's gonna know what that is.
Is that Wicker Man?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I guess I'd catch it.
the herringbone. You would know herringbone
I know.
jacket,
Yeah,
yellow turtleneck.
Yeah,
brown
yeah, yeah.
pants,
Yeah, okay,
and
yeah.
Rick and Morty wig for Rick.
I was just making sure I was getting it right.
Yeah,
Your reference because I'm not seeing it. If I saw it, I get it. Well, if I saw it, I'd be like, oh, you are the Wicker Man. I'd forget the guy's actual name. It's like
no,
how
he's not the Wicker Man. The Wicker
it's
Man
like
is the punishment device.
it's like how in the movie Collateral, Tom Cruise plays the character Collateral.
Or when you play Halo, you play as Halo.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a I want to say spoilers for anybody who wants to play the newest Metroid game but hasn't. Uh, you do become a Metroid in that.
All right.
It
Okay.
says you are a Metroid now,
Is that
so you
like
are Metroid.
that's like Paul becoming a worm in Dune?
Pretty much, yeah, yeah.
Are
He
you a god
becomes,
emperor
even though it would be
of the
weird if he
Metroids?
became a Dune. I mean, you're the only one basically.
Okay, I'm a Dune. Oh, you're the only Metroid? That sucks. Okay, you want
Well, the
more
last
Metroids?
remember how Super Metroid from 1994 started off with the last Metroid is in captivity, the galaxy is at peace, and that was like 4 games ago.
Um, I guess that makes sense now that you're saying it, but mostly I remember shooting things
It mostly is.
or
It's funny
shooting
trying to hear
brains.
people rationalize how the game is about scientific discovery. They're like, no, you shoot stuff. You shoot
I
everything.
mean, in 1994, you're just like, hey, I like Metroid. Here's one Metroid. Hey, this Metroid's better.
Yep.
That's pretty much the start and the end of it. Um, no Metroids here though. Do they give these
Nope.
aliens names? It's just Jarek and Rena, is it?
I don't believe they say what their species is or who their pursuers are or the name of their planet.
We should talk about the
Ships look
ships though.
cool.
I was about to say, I'm sorry, you're the trivia guy, so I don't have his name, but I think
I
they had a new model builder
Yes,
around
they
this time.
do.
Okay.
They do, and I accidentally left it out of my trivia because I sort of ran out of time. Martin Bower or
Oh,
Bauer,
okay.
Bower. Uh,
Give
this is
that
the
dude a shout out.
first. This is the first episode where he builds ships for it, but I think there'll be more in the future
That's
because
what
it's
I
the
think I saw. But yeah, the
yeah
ones that little Jackie draws, those are pretty cool. The other one I
yeah.
when I was looking at the wiki, it was like it was inspired by the Discovery from 2001. Where when I was watching the episode, I was like, did they just grab the actual Discovery model and paint it gray? But apparently, it was a build that was inspired by. So okay,
hmm Well, it looks like mostly most of his career is just the next 10 years after this, where he works on Flash Gordon, Doctor Who, and Alien, and some other stuff that I've never heard of.
oh, they build the Flash Gordon ships. Okay, you get points for that. Those
Yeah,
are cool.
makes sense, right? Yeah, they are.
So I guess hopefully we'll be seeing some cooler models because we all know we have cool sets and stuff. But as is with this ship, most of the interstellar stuff so far have been like glowing things, like the glowing green dot in this episode, or the eye and a brain and a planetoid thing. I mean, but yeah, cool
hmm
models are cool too. So
Yeah, for sure. You can't do everything with a matte painting with some lights on it.
I can't remember what the Earthbound ship looked like.
Yeah, I don't
So
either.
must I? Whereas I
It
mean, I
looked like a
watched this
set.
2 nights ago, but I feel like I can keep this one in mind, and definitely the one that looks like the Discovery, because you just imagine the Discovery.
Oh, yeah, it's cool, and it's cool to watch Eagles kind of do space battle stuff, even though they obviously mess it up.
It did look like they were shooting streams of urine at the ships, though.
I mean, maybe they were.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
don't know what their weaponry is like.
We don't know what Moonbase Alpha's waste disposal methods are.
Yeah, yeah, they just had a tank of urine next to the nuclear waste, and the
Yeah,
urine didn't blow up.
I guess they are still laserizing it though. They do say lasers, so
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I thought it looked like some version of lasers.
I don't. You were saying Koenig was too omnipotent. I thought he was being reasonably skeptical in this episode. Like I didn't think he was being stupid. Like when the
I
kid was
think it's
there, he's like, "This is unnatural. Let's
yeah.
try and deal with it as best we can, but keep our eyes open." Because I mean, when something that weird happens, you're waiting for the other shoe or the other Jarek to drop.
It sticks out when he's the only one who has any kind of suspicions. Except Helena sort of listens to him just because obviously she kind of wants him.
Yeah. Um, I
I
also
mean,
felt
that's
like
just the
in
thing.
this episode in particular, it felt like there were only like
Mm.
8 people on Moonbase Alpha. They even say
Yeah.
like there's like 300 somewhere in the episode, but it just feels
Hmm.
like there's 8 people because when stuff starts going down, they just all run around in like a little group, right? And then the one guy gets shot, and we're down to 7.
Well, I found an interesting, they're pretty interesting websites about Space 1999 on the internet. And one of them is just the death count or the population count.
Oh,
And
where
I
are we?
don't think it's in production. I don't think it's in production order. So that kind of screws us, but perhaps it is. Um, let's
What's
see.
our kill count?
According to the one that I pulled up right away from jerryanderson.com, 286.
That's the current number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jarek wants 286, all these people.
Right. Well, he
How
no, he
about
says
that?
he said they had 190, but they're going to kill everybody. So I guess you just if
Yeah.
the first body isn't that great, you choose another one because you don't want to
Yeah.
have 100 moon-based alphans hanging around once you've taken over most of the crew by killing
You know,
them.
it'd be really funny is if there were just like six of them, but they just wanted to kill everyone just because they didn't want to hang out with them.
That's kind of the impression I got. I mean, just bigger numbers, but
Yeah. Just like, yeah, I mean, we could have just left 100 and whatever, 250 of them alive, but they don't want to hang out with them.
when the genetic modification crew or conformity crew shows up and blows them all the ships up, you do wonder, like, because it's kind of just ex machina, right, where everybody gets blown away by the other aliens, but they could have been much worse. Maybe Jarek is the more chill version of this particular species, and the real hardcore ones were in that Discovery ship.
I'm gonna say that specifically because whatever they did, they just took Jarek and Rena away, and then you get Sue and Jackie as a baby back intact. That they're probably the good guys because if they were the bad guys, they would just nuke the entire. They would probably just nuke the entirety of Moonbase Alpha. Not to mention, leaving two people intact.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. I I
That's
I was about I guess this show, you can't really be that dark on the show in the 70s, can you? I was like, oh, did we actually off mom and kid in this? Because they say they're dead, right? So
No, they're alive
yeah, they
unless
are
everyone's
alive.
hallucinating at the end.
Mm, yeah, because it
Um,
was too dark.
Here's something I want to talk about that I thought was kind of hilarious is that there's where Helena is really upset that Sue quote unquote won't accept Jackie. She's like, I don't understand. She won't accept it, but Sue is just going completely insane and is in shock.
Yep. Well, here, have you heard about the actual like folktale version of doppelgangers?
Uh, I know I have, but it's refreshed my memory.
That I guess this is maybe like an Irish sort of thing, or maybe up in the Isles, but the pixie people or whatever, the fairies come and replace your kid with something that just doesn't seem quite right, like it's too needy or it seems kind of like wasted away, and the moms can kind of tell, and I felt like there was an echo of the doppelganger vibe in this. Honestly, I think that unfortunate that tale was used to explain why your kid had like physical or mental issues back in the day. Oh, the
Well,
the trolls replaced your kid, and now you have this
certainly,
sickly one.
certainly shades of autism in this episode, even though, or, nonverbal autism, even though I don't think anybody was thinking that when they made this. It was more just,
They were thinking
it
the
was
Omen, but
probably, they were probably more thinking, what's the easiest way we can use this kid and
I'd
not
like to
make
think
him
that the
have to
kid
learn
did have a
lines.
few lines, but his reads were so bad they were just like, I'll make him deaf and mute.
It's
I mean,
it's possible.
although Helena says it that, well, he's basically, even though he looks 5, he's just born, so of course he doesn't know how to speak. I mean, that would have explained it
Mm,
fine, but whatever.
okay,
They
yeah,
made him
sure.
deaf and mute too. Okay, so
It's just, yeah. I think if you carried a child and then gave birth to it and then it turned into a 5-year-old, you would lose your mind.
yeah,
Absolutely,
I
you
did
would
not.
completely lose your mind.
While she was screaming her brains out, it was not a completely like whack reaction. It kind of made sense.
Yeah,
Space is his father. I guess.
it's 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 how sci-fi always operates, right? It's like if you need to explain something, you will, and if you can't explain it, you won't.
Yeah.
You know,
Um,
it's just but you know, we the audience know the explanation because we saw the blinking green light, and also we just know how it works. We know how sci-fi works. We know what's going to happen,
right.
sort of.
Uh, I'm just
Okay,
looking
we
through.
okay. I didn't foresee Jarek. That's
No, no, no one
absolutely
sees
for
Jarrett.
sure.
No way sees
No,
Jarrett
I didn't
coming.
foresee Jarek. I did actually, yeah, just go, whoa, it's a nude man.
He's
What?
not nude. He's got short shorts
Okay,
on. So, man,
short.
think of that guy at Studio 54. That's the life of the party, man.
I mean, he might have just gone straight to Studio 54 after this.
Or whatever the Soho London version would be of that, which there must have been something. They do disco in London. They disco hard in London. They must have.
Yeah, of course they did. I mean, until I don't know, maybe I bet they stopped disco early or something. Like they stopped disco in 1974 before
Yeah,
everybody else stopped it.
get to the punk rock sooner.
Yeah, and then punk rock is dead. I was just watching a documentary about the uh, birthday party, you know, Nick Cave's old band, and they're talking about how they went to London to try and make it in like 1978. Punk was just over.
Too
So
late.
yeah, I mean they, you know,
Um,
they did their thing eventually, but
Let's plop through a few of my random notes on here. In the first scene, most of the med bay buttons were like even more clearly decals than usual. That was kind of fun. Like
yeah,
90% of the buttons were just two dimensional, decals, it seemed. Uh,
I didn't necessarily notice it, but yeah.
well, as I said, I'm just going over my random little notes here. What else do I have? Oh, they say we breathe air of a kind. I'm like, well, if they're breathing, it's still air, isn't it? I mean, it's just air on the moon reprocessed. I get, well, that is how do they reprocess it? It's not like they get new supplies of air. Maybe when they go to these planets that hate them and try to murder them, they at least, get some air down
I
there.
mean,
They need some Perry
I'm
air, like in Spaceballs.
I'm sure that we've all lived somewhere where we just didn't really open the windows for a few years. You're just breathing the same air over and over and over and over and
Yeah,
over.
my windows are open right now, man. I
How
keep my
cold is it?
windows open.
Hey, you can't even tell me how cold it is because I don't know Celsius.
Victor's couple scenes he gets with the kid. I'm like, why is Victor doing the kitty voice? Kid can't hear him. Just why talk at all? Well, because you're on TV, that's why.
He
But
was
yeah,
on
he's
vacation.
he's doing the cutesy voice. I'm like, kid can't hear you. So what's the I guess people do that voice for themselves. I never really did that voice with my daughter, I
Mm.
think. So it seems condescending. Even when they are a
Yeah.
baby, it just felt condescending.
I feel like everyone was condescending to this kid because he was deaf,
The
etc.
Eagles were just plopped on the moon but didn't really crash. Is that correct?
It looked like it. Yeah, they just
Okay.
slowly were set down.
They only
When I
showed
was
one of
watching,
them
I
do
was
it,
like,
but
"Here we go! Their Eagles are gonna blow up."
when Alan Carter leaves, he's like, "I'll be back." I'm not Schwarzenegger Toby. I was like, "Man, no, Eagle pilots don't say that because half the time that's not true. You can't say that."
We know Alan's gonna be back. I think.
Oh, he's already back. No, I know he'll be back, but I thought the other two Eagles were screwed. But it seems they all make
That's
it. So,
well, that's the thing when you
and then
binge a
Alan
bunch of
crashes his.
when you binge a bunch of Star Trek, you get the shorthand for who's definitely coming back
Yeah, I
and
do
who might not.
I do like how just before Jarek shows up, because neither of us were particularly familiar with this episode. I mean, I might have seen it once, but I certainly didn't remember it. But they may as well stick Jackie in an airlock. Jackie's hiding place sucks. Airlock, airlock. And then three lines later, Jarek shows up. You know, um, this one has the moonwalking without a disco soundtrack, by the way, which really makes me appreciate a few episodes ago when we had the moonwalk with a disco soundtrack, which was
Yeah, you should give it disco
I
soundtrack.
yeah, I think that was missing link if I remember correctly. Was it? I don't know. Anyway, disco soundtrack on the moon. I'm into that. Uh
My memory only for things like that. My memory only goes back like 1 week, so I don't remember.
Oh, when the first ship goes down, that was the best crashing sound effect ever. Do you know what I'm talking about? When the
It's
first
like
of the
that.
alien ships went down, it was a
I
weird squishy ping, like or something.
I didn't notice that.
That I wrote a note on. I can't remember exactly what the sound was, but mm, okay. I mean, I have a few other dumb things I wrote, but that's pretty much just. Do I not sound human? I wrote that when Jarek was trying to convince Koenig that they can stay on the moon base. Uh,
I I couldn't. I unfortunately, it's hard for me to watch this without thinking of that Mortal Kombat 4 ending. Have you? Do you know what I'm talking about?
no, you can
Well, there
talk
was a
about it though.
character named Jarek in Mortal Kombat 4, and somehow Mortal Kombat 4's ending has some of the worst dialogue that's ever existed on the face of the earth, and I have no idea how it happened. But it's basically things like, "Wait, Sonya, don't you can't do," that's just everyone's kind of saying what they're doing, and then at some point he steps on a walkie-talkie, but the guy who's on the walkie-talkie is right next to him, and he gets thrown off a cliff, and I don't know. It's insane.
Mm,
So look it up. Look up Jack's ending Mortal Kombat 4. Everybody, including you, Matt.
okay,
It's very
but it's
very funny.
Jarek's in it. Okay, got you. In a way.
Yes. And when he every time he falls off the cliff, he screams, "I'm so gay." I mean, it's not that, but it sounds exactly like he's saying, "I'm so gay." I have no
Okay.
idea why.
Maybe saying Sugay, like how
Probably.
great, how great.
I don't know because that specific game. Now I'm getting way too deep into this. Is that if you play that enough, you'll notice that some of the just things people yell or just what they're doing. Like there's one character when he throws you, he says, "Now I'm gonna throw you over there."
Okay. See, now you're feeling Luke's pain from the past where he's going game rants and I just start staring blankly at him.
Well, I feel like I'm sort of explaining what I'm saying, but
Someone gets it. So, you are, and someone gets it. So I what's
I'm not I'm not
I'm not
explaining like how to pull off moves or anything.
yeah, I'm not sure I've played Mortal Kombat since the 90s. So if I had the urge to play Mortal Kombat, I'd probably want to go for Street Fighter 2 instead in some form.
Well, here's something stupid that someone will be enraged by. The new Mortal Kombat movie actually has a lot of fatalities that are just directly from the game, so you can probably watch that and get a decent amount of enjoyment out of it.
I'm
It
sure. I know. And those
from
are on the radar. We're gonna have to be
it's
watching them before too long anyway.
No, not
Um,
that one.
we can watch as
Not on
extracurricular.
the list. Okay, we could do, yeah.
But
The
that's near here nor there. Let's see. Oh, we mentioned a little bit before, but I did like that when Jarek took out those six guys. Like I was
mhm.
like, are they dead? And they don't say anything about it. And then a few minutes later, I like that kind of assumes they are dead. And then I just thought that was actually like a nice little piece of misdirect that was not just shoved in your face. You need to be paying the slightest bit of attention. You know.
I thought they were dead, but I also it makes perfect sense that he would have stunned them because he wants to kill them and then take them with his friends,
Right, and his
possess
friends. I mean, he
possess
could have
them.
been like building up his crew at that point. That so Jarek is not a good strategist. I mean, let me
I
infiltrate
mean,
by becoming a 5-year-old for a while is also not the best method.
it seems like the best strategy would just be to abandon their ships and then have all of them just float down. I guess they have to be inside the ships.
Well, they
I
say
don't know.
they can only enter at the point of birth or death. So, and if
Yeah,
you're
but
just
they
a
can't.
floating blob, maybe you can't do much.
Right, yeah, but that would have been the smart thing to do, right? Is to take the ships and just abandon them somewhere and float over to Moonbase Alpha and then
If
just kill everybody.
if they had accepted the genetic uniformity, they could have pulled it off better.
Yeah, whatever that means. I, I mean, we could speculate about what that means. It could mean that just in their planet, everyone possesses just identical robots or something, like identical android creatures.
Well, it's all speculation. I mean,
Hmm. Of course,
maybe Brian could tell us what the books say. They
yeah,
might shed a little light on that, but
perhaps.
we didn't read it, folks. Sorry.
I'm not really just right away, listeners. I'm not going to read anything. I'm not going to read an adaptation of anything, probably ever. I just don't do it. I'm sorry, I refuse. I will not read the novelization of anything in existence.
Would you read the novel of the movie adaptation?
This is the thing. If I read the book, I probably won't watch the movie ever. If I
No,
watch the movie, I probably will not read the book ever. And that's not even adaptations. That's not even like novelizations. Just usually like I don't know. I never
did they
watched the
do that?
movie
Did
of
they novelize make a novelization of the movie adaptation and then treat the book the same way the movie treats the screenplay? That would be great.
I mean they should.
Like there's 8 more layers of meta in the book.
Every once in a while there's something where it's like you have to read the novelization of Transformers 4, it's insane, or just something, and I'd never take note of these things.
um, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll sometimes do both, but um, sometimes I like to read the book and get my own mental imagery and then see what the movie does. That's kind of fun. See how much it deviates from what was in my mind. But yeah,
Sometimes it just usually makes me disappointed if I watch do one form of something and then the other. Like the 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 closest is Watchmen, I guess, but then after I watched the movie a few times, I read the comic again and I was like, "Oh no, actually I was wrong. The movie isn't very good."
I had that with the Dark Knight Returns animated, which is really good. But you
I've heard
do
it
you watch?
wasn't though.
Oh no, I thought that one was quite good. Well, that's my opinion, but
Huh.
I thought it was really good. But
Okay.
then when you look at the comic again, you're like, oh yeah, this is have a few extra shades. No, I thought
Mm.
that I think it was a Killing Joke that Pete that kind of ate it.
Yeah, that was sort of like there's that sexual assault in that. I've never actually read that, but
Yeah, I mean
it
the
was
the, the comic
treated
book is
poorly.
80s dark, right? But it is a good
Yeah.
comic. But the movie they it's the animated movie is not very good. They add a bunch of stuff, and I think Batman bones Batgirl and stuff, and it's a little yeah,
Hmm.
which was not in the comic.
God. Yeah,
um,
maybe it'll be better if we add consensual sex to the non-consensual sex, and then
yeah,
not great
that might have been
with
someone's thought.
Batman. Yeah,
This just
it's
has
just
again. This episode of Space 1999 just has light incest. It was just a kiss, right?
maybe.
They didn't suggest they did more than that, did they?
I don't think so. That was really weird.
Sorry,
It was kind of
I also just watched the
bananas.
movie Gone Girl, so now I'm really confused.
Hmm. That's a good
About
movie.
it is a good movie, but now because it's like because they're off talking about doing in weird places. So in my mind, it was like, oh, they ran off to a closet for a moment, but that's because I had just seen Gone Girl, I think.
Well,
um,
that is a confusing movie, I guess.
yeah.
No
So
incest though.
no, no
Maybe.
incest. Probably. I mean,
Now I'm planting it in everyone's heads.
I just keep thinking of the Carrie Fisher thing where she was like trying to explain to Billy Lloyd why she shouldn't date this person because of weird Hollywood relationships and marriages and kids and all that sort of stuff. So it was like I had to draw it out on a whiteboard for her because I had to figure
Jeez.
out it myself too
Oh
if they're
God.
actually related or not.
Billy Lord seems like she's just always high.
Mm.
I could be wrong, but
Well,
maybe it's just that generation.
that's what Carrie did for 20 years by her own admission. So
I think she was, but I mean, I think she was doing cocaine. Just Billy Lord just seems like she's always smoking weed.
okay, that's maybe she took that after Harrison Ford. I don't know.
Maybe Harrison Ford's her dad.
Dube up and fly a plane.
Mhm. Yeah. I
That's
mean,
a Ford
I mean,
weekend.
he sold weed. So he sold weed to, I think, Steven Spielberg or something like that.
All right.
Right.
I
That was
guess
definitely a thing.
that sounds perfectly reasonable. So
Yeah. I think he was like a carpenter who sold weed to Hollywood people and then
yeah,
just became
okay,
a, sometimes you just become an actor when you do that.
that's fantastic. Um, on Alpha Child, how what percentage do you want to make existential dread, and what percentage is sci-fi fun?
Jeez, dude. I mean,
I can go first if you want because I it's not like I go
I
first.
I have thought about it. I I I feel like I say this a lot. 90-10.
90s on
Like
the dread side.
yeah, fun, like the fun part is sometimes the kid is kind of a hilariously smug jerk.
Jarek's
And it's
fun.
but it's just he's so scary and such a
He
jerk.
sucks, but he's such a jerk. It makes it
Like how many
fun.
times have you had to deal with somebody who just will not listen to you and he's going to kill you and all of your friends?
And then he wants to stay
And he
by your
wants you to
permission.
he wants you to accept that his plan is really great too. It's like he wants to be pat on the back for his plan to kill everyone, and that's why I kind of hate Jarek.
That's what see for me. I thought you'd actually. I was like, oh, I'm a parent, so maybe I have more dread with this
Mhm.
episode. So, but I was going
Yeah,
80-20. So you've actually
yeah.
bumped up a bit. But I think that
Um,
extra 10% is me thinking that while Jarek is horrible, he's also like just villain fun. He's a fun villain. He's definitely a villain, but he's a fun villain. He's almost
I'm
like a
always
Batman villain.
I'm pretty upset by hopeless situations, and this series has been kind of wall to wall hopeless situations. So what's that's why I've been doing a lot of dreading lately.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the charm of the show, though, that everything's hopeless.
Yeah, it's not
Including just drifting through space. The basic premise of the show is hopelessness.
what's like even, I'm obviously I've said this a few times. I'm concurrently watching Star Trek Voyager, which is about a ship that's lost where none of the Federation is, and they've basically just taken a bunch of stuff and built a bunch of stuff,
They at
and
least
then
have navigation, though,
yeah,
and
yeah,
engines.
but that's the whole thing is they've been building a bunch of stuff. They're negotiating with space terrorists and hiding people from space Nazis. Like they're kind of just crushing it. And this is also about a group of people who are lost in space, but it's just they're just constantly
Oh
almost all
God,
dead.
what's next?
Oh boy.
No one's
The
tried to blow up Moonbase Alpha yet, where Janeway regularly thinks about blowing up Voyager.
it's almost like you feel like Janeway will get away with it. But
Blowing up Voyager?
there's all yeah, of course. You just feel like she's gonna get away with it.
Hmm.
And
No,
but there
no
are
one has thought
also like 50 times more episodes of that than there are of this.
that math doesn't check out, but okay.
No, it doesn't, but it
There are
easily
notably more.
six
Okay.
times, five or
That's
six times more
I think it's like
episodes.
four times more, maybe.
Four times more.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
I,
they
I
have a
I'm
lot
not
of
checking actual numbers here
space.
though, so whatever. But
Hmm.
yeah, this one is pretty dready. Just well, also I like I said, maybe I'm stupid, but I was genuinely surprised when mom and baby were alive, and I would have
Hmm.
probably upped it up to your 90 if they had not been.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I don't even usually like a happy ending. It probably would have made a lot of sense if they weren't alive, but I
Especially since
kind of
they said they
appreciate
are dead.
it. Yeah, I kind of appreciate it because they did get done pretty dirty by Jarek.
Well, I guess the baby could still be alive because that was birth, but mom
Well,
technically shouldn't be
it
there anymore.
this is the thing. That was rough to watch actually because imagine you're it reminds me of Vampire's Kiss where Nicolas Cage basically just terrorizes his secretary and then murders her. It's this thing where your child is born, turns into a 5-year old, you're freaked out, you're screaming, you're worried it's trying to kill you, you think it's trying to kill you with its mind, and then it becomes an adult and kills you. It's like this thing about the thing that you're afraid of, and people are like, nah, don't worry about it, and then it kills you. That is like on a basic animal level terrifying.
Like I felt
Like,
like obviously they weren't copying it, but there's a few precursors here to the general vibe of Alien, you know?
mm-hmm. Well, I
Like cuz
mean, same
Aliens tied in with
guy
the
who built
same
the
like
ship.
fear of, like fear of birth. We got the alpha
Mm-hmm.
male more than the alpha child once Jarek shows up, who sort of like your xenomorph and then it kills
Right.
you. So
Or like Splice from much later.
a lot less Giger here, but yeah.
Yeah.
That we're gonna make a weird Jarek.
Well, I don't think they could afford Giger. Has there ever really been a Giger TV series? I don't think there has.
Mm.
I
No,
think arguably Star Trek Voyager is the Gigerist just because of how many Borg are in it.
that may be the case, but yeah, this is all clean lines and disco suits. So,
Yeah,
uh,
but I mean, I like that better. I'm sorry, Giger, if you're haunting my haunting me from beyond the grave.
Well, I always feel Giger's masterpiece is the cover of Emerson, Lake and Palmer's album Brain Salad Surgery. The music, not so great. Cover, fantastic.
I mean, have you ever seen his Space Invaders pinball? Where it's
Giger's?
just basic. Yeah, it might not have been him. It might have just been a knockoff, but it's
I'll say Geiger
basically,
just at least once in case I'm wrong about the other pronunciation.
I'm not even sure. But
Geiger,
basically, Space
Giger,
Invaders
Giger,
pinball
Geiger.
just has like a Giger-esque alien on it with a big like infinity mirror behind it.
That sounds weirdly. How old is that game?
I think like 70s.
Okay, I think I recall seeing that at a beach boardwalk arcade back in the 80s or something.
Yeah, it's common.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
I've seen it then because I definitely was hitting pinball machines back in the day. Wasn't a pinball wizard, but I play them for the flashy lights and stuff.
well, the only way you can be good at pinball is to basically tilt the machine all the time, which
Mm.
I can't do. I cannot
Oh
make
no,
myself tilt the machine.
pinball, it's a form of gambling. At least that's what New York City said for
Nope,
years.
they proved it wasn't. That's false.
Right.
I'm just
Anyway,
straight
is
up sending you a link to that pinball table so you can look at it
oh
later.
yeah. Oh, okay, sure. Um, do you have any final thoughts you want to throw out on this episode?
This is a really, even though I said it was full of dread, this is a fun episode. I enjoyed it. I had fun.
Fun villain. I think a
Is
lot of it's fun villain.
Yeah, and it was interesting. And I personally am a big fan of you think the episode's about one thing and then it's about another thing halfway through, wherever you
Here,
want to call that.
I'm
The
leaving Messenger to see your picture. What does that mean? Okay. I'm looking at the pinball
um
machine as it's loading.
yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan of like having the plot to that's a big like constant device in Law and Order Special Victims Unit where they think they're investigating something and they'll find a sex dungeon.
Hmm. Like that. I think that's a plot of Bates Motel as well.
Hmm. I mean, I'm sure that's a lot of things. I'm sure a lot of things do that now. I mean, it's you got to try and
Okay.
up the ante.
Anyway, I was barely paying attention because what you sent me, I had to
Yeah.
squint at like a really tiny thumbnail, but it looked
Oh,
recognizable. So okay.
sorry. I just found the Google search result and sent the page because the page had information on the table that I thought you might find interesting. It might say whether Giger made it or not.
Not to put you completely on the spot, but do you think you could do the plug in sort of a Jarek like tone of condescension?
Uh, you stupid humans. You can find you can find us on Facebook at Podcast 1999 or on Patreon at Podcastio Podcastius. We will replace you when you die. I don't remember what he talked like. I'm
That's a
sorry.
weird claim to make. Join us on Patreon so we can replace you when you die.
Send us money for our server bills so we can replace you when you die. Check out other podcasts that are definitely rail against genetic conformity, like Hyrule Field Report, Game Show, uh, Time Enough podcast, Occult Disney, Films and Filth, the Citizen Kane of podcasts, Luke
Uh,
Loves
yeah, I
Pokemon.
was about to say because Pokemon clearly are not into genetic conformity at all, or are they? Because one species is all the same,
I don't think you could
but there's many different kinds
possess.
of them.
Yeah, there probably is a Pokemon that possesses people. I have no idea.
Doesn't the reverse happen in Detective Pikachu?
Kind of. I guess
Okay,
the. I
I guess I
guess
should. I'll say no more.
maybe.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, I didn't. Sorry, I asked you to do a strange thing, but I guess the way
Yeah,
the way in which it didn't work out was amusing enough. So
yeah. I think that whenever I stumble to try and improvise, it's probably pretty amusing.
yeah. Okay. Well, I'll
Um,
replace this podcast when you die right now. Mark's dead.
I am now Matt.
Mm. This is Matt. Oh, I thought you were gonna. I was doing the introduction
No,
again. Okay,
I'm Matt now.
that's
He
right.
replaced me. don't know how we would do that.
Okay. Yeah, just
I
leaving
don't know
the
how we would do
silence.
that. I
That's
hope you
fine.
cut it off by now.
Oh, that I was shutting up to cut it off there. That was the
Good,
whole
good,
cutoff
good,
point. Yeah.
good, good, good.
Speaking
Oh
of
God.
Harrison Ford, I did I think you said they made too many noises, but the podcast The Ride thing, I made a suggestion that they do Harrison Ford and Callista Flockhart's Halloween costumes, which they put on their monthly poll, and it got fourth place out of five.
Wow, nice.
Well, but on the on the next show, they were like, usually we appreciate or we like we know you all will vote the correct way, but this time you all voted wrong. So on the next feed up, we're going to do it anyway.
Nice.
So I thought that was
Oh,
fun. So, and then people were really pissed off. So I was like, appreciated breaking their podcast a bit.
hell yeah.
But
Yeah, that's I mean that's basically you appealed directly to people who make podcasts would of course choose that.
right,
Like
right.
if we were doing a poll, I would absolutely do that. I don't know for what.
Have you seen the costumes?
No, I can look them up.
Harrison Ford, Callista Flockhart, Halloween.
Did you hear that Cedar Fair and Six Flags are merging?
I heard that. I've never been to
Holy
Cedar Fair though.
shit. Uh
Are you getting the costumes?
wait. Is this just it's like a all of their costumes ever?
It might be.
Is it
They do
this
this
year
every year.
specifically?
No, they do one every year. I
Okay,
mean, maybe they
I
didn't.
clicked on the bad article. I clicked on a bad article.
Where she's a hippie and he's a hip P.
What? Hip P?
And then there's their glam rockers one year. So it's Harrison. It's a 75-year-old Harrison Ford. It's a
Wow.
glam
Holy
rocker.
shit. Yeah, okay, I see that now. That was the first picture that came up. Wow.
Yeah. So you see where that
Really?
topic is a very good one.
Wow. I don't think I've ever really seen her in anything before I saw her in that Supergirl show, but she was great in that.
I haven't even seen her in that. I'm just going by the Halloween costumes. I didn't watch Ally
It
McBeal.
it was this thing where she was great, and then the second season they didn't bring her back, but they set the whole thing into like a bar that was just lesbians and aliens hang out at. So that was kind of good, but not quite as good as Callista Flockhart.
Yo.
But
Sorry, I just noticed my
wow.
TV is dusty, and now I'm dusting it for some reason. Weird time to start dusting, I guess.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But but yeah, the thing about Cedar Point is they have this like ride that is like this big fucking peak that just it was something where you go up it and it's 420 feet in the air, so it just looks like a giant penis. And it killed some or it didn't kill someone, but it almost killed someone. Like the launch mechanism fucked up and like chunked somebody's brains. So they took it out of commission, and now they're building like a second tower, and it's going to be two of them.
Oh, well, twice the brains.
It's insane. Yeah, it's like seeing this thing was like, can you imagine? Like just looking at a roller coaster where it's just like 420 feet in the air. It's just like that's insanely tall.
Mm. Yeah, I don't.
Anyway, I rode
I
it once, and it was like actually the only time I've really felt like scared, and it was because what happened was somebody like had their hands outside the ride or something, and somebody to the right was like, "Hey, you gotta put your hands inside." I sort of got distracted, so I wasn't looking forward when it launched, and it launches. You go from 0 to 120 miles per hour in like 1 second, so it's just like, oh fuck,
Yeah, that's what the
it's so
Dumpa does in or did.
crazy.
I think they also in Japan
Is
at
that the
Fuji Q they had
backbreaker?
the Dumpa. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I think I could I enjoy a roller coaster anymore. I haven't been on one in so long. Like just from
Eh,
the feeling, like getting something twisted afterwards or having your
you
genitals
probably
destroyed from the
uh,
restraints or something.
well, you probably could. It's just you probably wouldn't enjoy like the wooden ones as much. That's sort of how I feel at this point.
Yeah, that probably. Yeah, I guess a nice smooth one is still cool. So,
Yeah, that's the thing is the smooth ones are generally the thing that sucks is that the smooth ones are the ones that you just wait in line for an hour and a half for.
mm. Hey,
So
I just noticed that there's a big skull behind James Bond on the Spectre disc. I never noticed
interesting.
that. It's just
Maybe
been
that
sitting
skull
here for
represents his
death,
impending
probably.
death in the
Yeah.
next film.
That's why I'm watching Spectre because I'm like, I need to watch No Time to Die again. But
Hmm.
I feel like I have to watch Spectre first. I don't know.
I watched about half of Spectre at Lisa's house and then forgot to finish it.
That's where I am at
Um,
the current moment on Spectre.
it was the thing where the thing where Blofeld sort of shows up and this that's sort of the reveal kind of.
It's a little,
Uh,
yeah. It's like great actor, wrong choice.
just I don't know. I was enjoying it, but I I don't
I
know,
think the
man.
biggest flaw with Spectre is that the opening sequence is so freaking good that the rest of the movie can't really
Mm.
compare.
Well, I was really kind of let down by Skyfall and how maybe two-thirds of it were perfect, and then a third of it was totally unnecessary and didn't
Well,
need
you
to
do the
exist.
only way to the way to fix it is obviously the guy whose role was written for Sean Connery at the end, and that would have made it great.
Well, yeah, but it still was too long. Like that
It was
still would
okay,
have. I
still
mean,
too long.
yeah, that would have probably gotten me through it emotionally, but it was still too long.
Who is it? James Mason or something? I don't remember who actually is. He's no, he would maybe I don't remember.
James Cromwell, I don't know.
No, James Mason would have been dead by then, I think. But hey, you never know. It's
Yeah.
someone Brian Cox who is actually
Hmm.
in Skyfall as the Scotsman.
Give me like 10 seconds,
Nine,
if
eight,
that.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3. So I was trying to make it more intense.
uh, um, um, God damn
Do
it, there
it,
are a lot of
do it,
people in
do
this fucking movie.
it. You'll know the name when you see it. Finney? I know it's been a while since I watched Skyfall, so I don't feel too bad for not remembering which prominent old man actor they did get.
Now I'm just searching for the word Scott, and that's not what the guy's name is.
No, no, that's not. I could get on this horn as well. I got that's Metacritic there. Skyfall,
So many people in
Skyfall.
this movie.
Well, they needed to employ some folks, right?
Yeah,
Needed
it's
to
too long, so it has too many people in it.
employ all the
Tracks.
people. Definitely not Javier Bardem. Not Ralph Fiennes. Albert Finney. Okay, it was Albert
Okay, it
Finney.
was Albert Finney. Okay.
Now I have to see when James Mason died because I think that was actually a really stupid thing to say.
I think he died in like the 90s,
Yeah, that's
possibly.
what I'm thinking here. But no, 1984.
Oh wow. Well,
It's one of those things where as soon as it came up, was it James? No, it wasn't.
wow, he died in 1984 at the age of 75.
Yeah, he definitely was not in Skyfall.
He couldn't even have been in like the last Roger Moore.
Yeah, he could have. That's a very old man, but we need Christopher
No, I
Walken in
think
that one. I don't think
wasn't
I've
the
ever
last.
watched that one. This last one's the Walken one, I think. A View to a Kill.
Uh, yeah, I guess that would have been 84. I think. I don't
Yeah,
think
it could have had James Mason in it. Although I guess he was already in North by Northwest. So that's already kind of like being in a Bond film.
all seven films Roger Moore starred in. IMDb.
Okay, read the
Do, do, do,
titles.
do,
Live
do,
and
do,
Let
do,
Die.
do,
No,
do.
I'm
Live
gonna
and
do
let
it. No, no, no,
die.
no. Hold
Go.
on, hold on. I'm doing it from my mind. Live and Let Die is first. Second one, The Man with the Golden Gun.
Uh huh.
The Spy Who Loved Me.
Uh huh.
Uh, Moonraker.
Mm-hmm.
There's something before Octopussy, isn't there?
Yep.
And then A View to a Kill is the
It's
last one.
something. It's something before Octopussy. It's something that.
Slated to Die. I don't
It's
know. That I just
something
made
that.
up a
It's
title.
something that nobody else is supposed to see.
For Your Eyes Only.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, there we go. I just wanted to see if I could do the Moore run,
I wanted to do
which I
charades.
didn't quite manage.
Well, View to a Kill is 85, so it's unlikely that James Mason's gonna make it in there.
I'll throw you an easy one. Connery, do the Connery run. Can you do the Connery run?
Goldfinger,
That's the
Doctor
third.
No. Doctor
Oh,
No
that's the
is
first.
first.
You have to do in order.
Goldfinger.
That's third.
Diamonds Are
That's
Forever.
last, unless you count
You
the fake one.
Only Live Twice.
That's before that. You forgot about the
Uh,
best one.
Doctor No 2, Doctor Yes.
From Russia with Love.
From Russia with
Thunderball.
Love.
Thunderball's not one
Thunderball.
of the best, but Thunderball's just long.
Did anybody ever actually leak that John what is it, Johnny Cash theme song?
Ooh,
Did
I
that happen? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Thunderball. No, to Thunderball
He
rolling through the
submitted a
water.
theme song that was
Thunderball.
rejected.
Thunderball.
Yeah, it's like Thunderball that's in the sky. Okay, yeah, it is on YouTube.
Oh right. You can tell me if it fucks or not.
It sounds like a goddamn Johnny Cash song with Thunderball, Thunderball.
So
It
what I was singing
holy
was accurate.
crap. Yeah, I mean, well, I hate to say it, but it'd probably be pretty easy to guess how that would, it's unlikely that he would have been like
Especially in the
Tom
60s.
Jones, you know?
My favorite Johnny Cash album is Orange Blossom Special because his voice is shot.
I don't know. I'm
That's when he was
familiar.
whacked out. So he's singing every song, right? Like it sounds like Johnny Cash, but slightly screwed up.
I've never really enjoyed listening to Johnny Cash that much. I just think that he usually has clever lyrics, but
He didn't write that many lyrics. He chooses clever songs.
okay, he chooses clever
He
lyrics.
did write some songs. I mean, just to be fair, but he's kind of like I wrote like 30% of my stuff sort of guy.
Yeah, it's one of the things where I appreciate the wit that is in the songs, but they're just super like so like by the numbers. It's sort of like Kiss, I guess.
Mm.
Like
I'm
I
gonna give Johnny a few ticks over Kiss for a little more variety, especially when you look at his whole career.
yeah, I mean he did do all those sad songs at the end.
Right. So, and also I do I think I prefer the Railroad Chug a Chug to just like Rock and Roll City in that case.
Yeah, I think Gene Simmons is an objectively terrible person, and Johnny Cash probably wasn't
Yeah.
all
I
that
live.
much. Also, he
Well,
was played by my favorite actor, Joaquin Phoenix. I've never seen that movie. It's just like
I
it
saw it
just made me
once
funny.
and then I saw Walk Hard, and since then I just forgot
Yeah.
that Walk the Line exists. I'm like, oh, I'll watch Walk Hard.
Well, Walk Hard is a rare instance of a good parody.
It also made me forget about the movie Ray for similar reasons
Hmm. I haven't seen that.
because they're
I
both
like
kind of
biopics.
blended. They're both kind of blended into Walk Hard. I'm like, oh, and then
Hmm.
Walk Hard's like funny. You seen Walk Hard? Yeah, you
Yeah.
just referred to it as being solid. So
Yeah, it's good. It's a so Luke says that he's gonna get something from Anna for us. So
that's what it
cool.
says with Big Man Japan as backup because it's in 48 hours. Speaking of
48
which,
hours.
I do need to go in a minute, but do you? How about this time tomorrow? Can I drag you in for One Step Beyond?
One step. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Sure, I can do that.
Okay,
What's the name of it?
you choose. You can choose.
I don't know how to choose. I don't know what you fucking done and haven't done.
Oh, okay.
Give me something. You just find something in the next 12 hours and give it to me.
I'll find some in the next 2 minutes if you want. I've got my phone here.
Okay.
One step beyond, not the song.
Yeah, we'll just go on there and talk about the madness video.
That could be kind of funny. Um,
That's like, but that would be good for April Fool's Day if we're still doing this in five
I
months.
don't think. Well, I I'm actually trying to schedule with Andrew the next Twilight Zone for next week. I mean, we'll at least
Yeah,
record it, I guess, because I actually didn't put
I
out
think
one this week. I just kind of fell behind the ball finally.
yeah, I kind of think if it's by the end of the year, just like fuck it.
But
Because
I don't
like
know.
I think it would be funny if I haven't decided for sure, but it would be funny if I brought that Coffin Joe movie in for Christmas and say it's a Christmas movie.
Okay, what have we
Because
not
you haven't
done yet?
seen that, right?
We did the navigate. No, one step beyond the villa. We didn't do the villa. I think the death was one step beyond. Oh, these are
We
the.
did If You See Sally.
Yeah, I know. You did that.
Okay.
Yes, we did that.
Yes, we did that.
Um, just because it's near the top of the list. Oh wait, here's a playlist. 10 war episodes. 5 historical episodes. 15 rare episodes. That's not what we need. There's a lot of like random playlists here. Okay, just since I'm trying to do this on my phone, which is probably one of the problems here. Um, the villa. How about the villa? Just because it's near the
Okay,
top of the list, or the
cool.
face. There's the face. There's a guy with a sword.
Um, guy with a sword.
Oh,
Let's
here we go. We should do the prisoner. One
okay.
step
Let's do
beyond the
the prisoner.
one step beyond the
Perfect.
prisoner.
You haven't already done that because I feel like I might have seen that in your feed.
I'll double check, but I don't think so.
Okay, I feel like
Everything will
maybe
come.
you did that first.
Oh, maybe I did actually. Now that you mentioned, maybe I did for a similar reason, right? It just like caught my mind, my eye.
Yeah.
You might actually be correct there.
Hmm.
Where the fuck? There's my feed. Yeah, now that you're saying it, shows you how much Swiss cheese my memory is. The Navigator, the Avengers of the Future. No,
I
actually,
mean,
we did
wouldn't it?
not. Do you want to do the
Okay, that'd
prisoner
be fun. Yeah. Okay, let's do it.
just for the
That'd be funny
funniness
as
of it?
shit if like if you just did it twice by mistake.
No, because we did that movie, The Prisoner, with Jackie Chan.
Yeah,
It's
I
now
know.
hung.
I
Yeah.
thought for some reason I saw you also do that. Maybe I
Maybe
have
I'll just
no idea
stick.
why.
Maybe I'll just stick it into the in prison feed too, just to be
Sure, why
silly.
not?
Which yeah, people seem to drop in occasionally and download those. So
That'll probably be downloaded till the end of time because people always find the prisoner.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, I mean, is I don't think that many people are listening to say this one right. Although I get feedback, so a few people are, but it's kind of like, oh, it's there, and people find it eventually, and that seems to be happening with the prisoner. So, um, I think I
Oh
mentioned
yeah.
possibly just putting changing the Sci-Fi Sanctuary
Oh,
film to actually being Films and Filth.
you know what it was? It was The Fugitive.
Yes, okay,
So I
but
saw that and thought, oh, it's the one-armed man, and I just my brain went. And then you also did the Avengers. So
yes,
okay,
yes, that so it makes
sure.
sense. But
So yeah, that makes sense. That my brain would jump to that. You also had the prisoner.
But yeah, like I said, I was thinking about making the Sci-Fi Sanctuary feed actually the Films and Filth feed because if I post
Yeah,
an episode to the Films and Filth feed and then post it to the Sci-Fi Sanctuary feed, it's like 4 times more listeners on the Sci-Fi Sanctuary feed. So
yeah. I mean, if it's not a huge hassle, then just do
no,
it. Because I was
it's
thinking,
only 30 episodes, so it's not the biggest hassle. Like if I do it
yeah,
now, it won't be that big a deal. But if I wait like 6 months, it'll suck. Um,
yeah,
and also just like I thought we might still be doing those, but that's probably not the case. So change the feed. Because
yeah. I
originally,
mean,
I mean, I guess that's when Luke was just starting to hook up with Mercy. So I was like,
mhm.
oh, maybe we'll still be doing these sometimes. That's not the case. We just do these on Zoom now. So,
Well,
uh,
also he's started the task of podcast about a game that's like 200 hours to play. So
right, right. So anyway, the
I
point is,
mean,
I thought we might catch up and do the franchises, and even if we did
yeah.
that, we could still do
Oh,
it and just all label it as such.
and also, I mean, I don't know if Luke knows this or not, but there are strong rumors that a new Monster Hunter game is going to come out next March.
Oh, okay. He probably does, I
He
assume.
probably
He's
does.
usually up on this stuff.
I read way too many video game news things. I notice stuff like that. So
Yeah. Anyway, I'll
uh
catch you in 24 of the hours.
awesome.
Or
All
well,
right, I'll see you
prisoner. We'll get
then.
back to the
The
prisoner.
prisoner back
Yeah.
to the village.